This year is 2011. I will never be able to forget this year for the rest of my life, because in our short lives, sometimes things happen that leave permanent scars on our minds. Now, let me introduce myself. I am Jack. By profession, I am an architect. Currently, I hold a good position at a private firm. I will tell this dark chapter of my life exactly as it happened. In my family, there are my father, my mother, and an elder sister. My sister's name is Jerry. Being the youngest member of the family, I used to receive lots of love and affection from everyone. My sister loved me very much. My sister is 4 years older than me. She was a medical student. My sister was directly connected with the events that happened to me. As the youngest member of the family, besides love, I also received many gifts from my sister. On my birthdays, she would save money from her pocket all year long to buy me very beautiful presents. I was surprised because she was studying at medical college then. Still, she would save painfully and bring very expensive presents. That made me very happy. Before my 21st birthday, my sister came to me and asked, "Your birthday keep it with me for a while? Since I bought it for my own enjoyment, I'll keep it for a few days." I agreed with her. Then I went to my room with the bike key and rode out on the new bike. Riding the bike, I didn't notice when it became 11 o'clock at night. On the way back home, I glanced toward my sister's window and saw the light on. I left the bike and was about to go inside when I saw my sister's shadow on the curtain, and inside the curtain something seemed to be pressing her throat and hanging her in midair. My sister seemed to be struggling to free herself from that thing, but couldn't. I immediately ran into the house and dashed to her room. Inside the room, I found my sister gasping. I told her what I had just seen and asked what had happened. She said, "Nothing. I was just half asleep, had a bad dream. I woke up sweating and I'm short of breath." "Don't think about it. Where did you see it from? Maybe it was your imagination." My sister's words could not convince me because what I had seen could not be that unreal. My own eyes told me something else, but there was no proof, so I suppressed it as a mistaken imagination and calmed down. That night, we ate and went to our rooms to sleep. We were awakened by my sister's screams. When we entered her room, we saw her sleeping as usual. There was no problem. She hadn't woken up despite the screams. My sister's room and the rest of the house. We walked all through the house, checking if anything had happened. Suddenly, I looked toward the kitchen and saw my sister lying on the floor. I called my parents quickly. We picked her up and took her back to her room. But to our surprise, when we entered the room, we found something we had never expected. We saw my sister sleeping on her bed, and the person we had just carried was nowhere to be found. My mother woke my sister and asked what had happened. My sister said she knew nothing of what had happened. As we left her room, we wondered how all of us had seen the same thing and what had actually happened. We decided to go to sleep in our respective rooms. The next morning, nobody spoke about it. Perhaps we wanted to dismiss it as a mere dream and forget it. Gradually, everything returned to normal. After a few days, my sister started to change. She no longer talked as much as before and stayed in her room. When asked, she told us she was busy studying for exams. We accepted that explanation. I forgot to mention one thing. Besides us, there was another person living in our house. We called her Aunt. She lived with us and helped my mother with the household chores. Even though she worked, she felt like a member of our family. After 2 months of continuous leave, Aunt returned about 4 or 5 days after my birthday. Everything was normal. One night, we all went to sleep, and the next morning, we found there was no breakfast on the dining table. We were quite surprised because Aunt used to prepare breakfast after 6 a.m. every day, but this time she was late. My mother went to call her room. While I and my father were freshening up, my mother's scream made us run to Aunt's room. What we saw there is something we would never want to see. We found Aunt lying dead on her bed, and countless black worm-like insects scattered everywhere. The insects were emerging from her mouth and nose, and her eyes were completely filled with them. The insects looked like worms, but their faces were somehow human-like. They seemed to have made Aunt's corpse their dwelling and food source. My father, frightened, informed the police. One of my father's friends was the on-duty officer at our local station then. He came, completed the examinations, and arranged for the body to be taken away. He told my father not to worry. During the autopsy, a horrifying fact came to light. Aunt's body was filled with those worm-like creatures in hordes. They had destroyed all her internal organs. The doctors were baffled. Because such an abnormal event had happened, it did not proceed as a typical police case. A week later, my sister came into my room. She had that same wooden box in her hands. Seeing the box, I became very happy because I had liked that box a lot. My sister said to me, "Here, from today, this is yours. All responsibility for this box is now yours." She handed the box to me quickly and left my room. My sister's manner of speaking did not feel normal to me. What did she mean by responsibility? I could not understand even after thinking a lot, but I was only happy to receive the box and thought nothing else. I started keeping my watch and wallet in that box. But since I received the box, I began to have very bad dreams every night. The dreams had no beginning or end. I would wake up sweating and feeling very short of breath. The first few days passed like that. I wanted to tell everyone, but did not. My mother was a heart patient, and I didn't want to worry her unnecessarily. So my days passed with those terrible dreams. Then, one night, a figure appeared before me. The figure's head looked like a burlap sack mask. I couldn't see its face. Its two eyes were very large and seemed to burn like balls of fire. In its hand, it held what looked like a stick, but the stick was in fact a living snake. In a heavy voice, it spoke to me. "This box is now yours. You will obey me. You must do what I tell you, and then you will live. If not, your death is certain." Hearing this, I screamed in fear, but no sound came from my mouth. It looked at me, and smiling a little said, Give me what I want." In the background, I could hear many distorted laughter sounds, and they were pricking at my soul. I begged the figure to spare me, but it snarled more fiercely, and from its mouth, such an intense, venomous sound came that it seemed it was going to swallow me. The air around me became heavy. I could not bear it anymore. I was overwhelmed by the laughter and lost consciousness, running around like a madman. Suddenly, I bumped into something and fell to the ground. When I opened my eyes, I saw the figure standing before me, and that snake-like stick had lunged toward me as if ready to devour me. I don't know how, but I fainted there. When I regained consciousness, I was lying on the ground. The clock read 3:55. I returned to my room. Thus, one day passed feeling like 10 years. I could neither act nor tell anyone. Inside, I felt the heat of hell at the gate. There was no part of that hell that spared me. 2 days slowly passed. I sat curled in the corner of my room at night, wrapped in a blanket despite the heat. Suddenly, the sky felt heavy, and that cruel laughter filled the air. My soul trembled. That standing figure appeared before me again. I begged and begged it not to kill me. It only growled more loudly and told me that to obtain something, one must give something, and that my time was short. Its final line put me at the threshold of life and death. It told me that one life must be given to it. If someone's life is offered to it, it would be pleased and would spare me and would grant me life. Then it left. That night, I cried a lot. The taste of tears, so salty, I perhaps hadn't truly known until then. In the morning, my mother called me and told me to go to university, but I clung to her and cried. She asked whether I was ill. I replied, "Mother, I think we will receive some bad news today." I had a dream last night. My mother consoled me and said dreams do not come true. But she did not know that to save my own life, I had already written the death warrant for a relative. I had pushed someone toward death to save myself. There is a saying, saving one's life is obligatory. In fulfilling my obligation to save myself, I had abandoned the obligation to save another. I felt like a murderer. I couldn't tell anyone that I had done this. Then the phone rang. My uncle's mother had died. Her mouth and nose had those worm-like insects coming out. When my mother heard this, she looked at me with disbelief. She asked, "How did you know beforehand?" What could I answer? Tell her that I wrote her death warrant? So I stayed silent. From my mother's words, I understood that my sister had saved her life by making our house help Aunt die first. I went to my sister and hugged her and began to cry. I did not have to tell my sister anything. She already knew. We couldn't look each other in the eye. To survive, we had made others' lives worthless. We came from my uncle's house after completing the burial. On the way, my mother asked me many times how Aunt and my uncle's mother died in the same way. How did I know beforehand? I again stayed silent. That night, the figure came before me and, in a gentle voice, said it was pleased with what I had done, but told me one small job remained. After that job, I would be freed. Hearing this, I grew very angry and said, "What job remains? Haven't we taken 2 lives? What more do you want? Why are you doing this?" It laughed loudly and told me that no one had ever questioned its work. I had asked about it, and it despised that I had asked. It said it was curious whether I was afraid and thought I had courage, so it wanted me to answer its questions. It said telling me about itself would do me no good, but then, perhaps out of some decision, it told me a little. It said that the box had belonged to it, and that it was a Jewish jinn named Babel. It said the human race was a low species to it. It told me that it once had a master who used to live in Turkey and did much for its people. All of its present power came from that master. It had served humans like a command for the master, but people branded its master as a black magician and beat and killed him. They did not spare his wife and children. 2 young daughters were also captured and killed. After killing its master, they threw the body by the riverside. It said that it saw the master's body still alive and rushed to save him, but the master told it to bring the box into my possession, and the jinn did so. The master used hair from his own head and clay dolls to create a pathway to hell inside that box. The purpose of that box was that whoever opened it would be shown a glimpse of hell on earth for a time. The box's design had a specific reason. It was created to destroy humanity, to show them they were not supreme, and that someone else more powerful existed. The jinn said, "You, a human, begged for life from me. Now you must give me another life. Show me how low you can fall." Listening to that, I was stunned and could not speak. I realized it was doing all this for revenge and to humiliate human arrogance. I told it to remember that God is above all, and that it may show us a path to hell, but God can cast it into hell. I argued with it. The jinn replied that it would tell me whatever it wanted, and I must obey. Then it left. After that, I became very worried about my mother. Things could not continue like this. I decided to end all this with my sister. I went home and told our church priest, remembering that the jinn had said if I told anyone, they would die. The priest advised me not to think about it and gave me the address of a church in Savannah. He said there were some sorcerer, spiritual healers from India there, and told me to see them with the box. He also said that I should give the box to my mother.